right, I am back with a Borderlands 4 video. Not just a Borderlands 4 video, the Borderlands 4 video, my video review, as opposed to my written review, which went up at embargo at 8 a.m. This is obviously filmed after that. This is kind of what I do. I'm not a YouTuber. I have some big, 10 video thing planned. That's just, I'll rely on them. I know some of them. I talked to Moxie like 3 days ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I have 150 hours in." I'm like, "Is that even physically possible?" Like, so I have like 40. I didn't play as much as I wanted to. Like, I'm past the age or state in life where I can like grind 12 hours a day for embargoed games. My weekends are shot. And disclaimer, my game was bricked for an entire day. There was some new build pushed that first totally tanked my performance, and then they fixed that, and then it crashed for a full day. They did fix that. I do not expect that to be an issue going forward, but performance in general is not great. Besides that, I am a big Borderlands fan. That's what I'm coming from. I have at least 300 hours into Borderlands 3. I'm sure I have more than that into Borderlands 2 over the years. And then, obviously I played Borderlands 1. So I'm coming at this like as a super fan, as someone who's really excited to see a new game in the series for 6 years later. And I've said previously that all of the marketing, all the stuff they were talking about, all the streams, all it sounded really good. It sounded like they're making a lot of good changes. And guess what? They're good. They're almost always overwhelmingly good. I think the game's kind of great. I think Borderlands fans are going to be pretty happy with it on a number of fronts. There are some issues, certainly, as you might expect, but I definitely think almost everything they added is a positive addition to the franchise, and they subtracted some things that were bad. So obviously I'm not doing gameplay. I don't know what's a spoiler at this point. Like, I'm recording this before it's even out, and like some people consider guns spoilers. I don't know. I'll do footage in later videos, but for now, just this is going to be very, very spoiler free. You are a vault hunter. You get a thing planted in you that makes you not being able to leave the planet, and also kind of somewhat subservient to this new bad guy, the Timekeeper. We don't learn a lot about him for a very long time. Instead, we are focused on 3 of his lieutenants in 3 different regions, and you have to kill them and get things from them to go take on the Timekeeper. This is not, the most novel concept in the world, killing mini bosses to go kill the big boss. But the open world is great. It's such a welcome change for the franchise. If you played any of these games, you have these distinct, segments. It's like these very, unique biomes and stuff, but you have to load all of the time. I've lost track of how many of these places are just incredibly segmented, and you're just spending so much time loading. Here, everything is connected outside of a couple specific boss spaces. There's like 4, I don't know, but everything else is connected seamlessly through the open world. I say seamlessly because this does definitely create some performance issues. One consistent one is especially driving new places. Every time you kind of change over to a new part of the map, it would hitch. I know there's a day 1 patch. I went through like 2 builds of this and multiple patches, even pre-release, and it broke my game once. Other times it improved performance. So I don't even know where things are going to land today. But it was definitely an issue, and we'll see how that manifests here. But generally speaking, the open world is a very positive addition to the franchise. It's a lot more populated than I thought. I mean, it's certainly not like the biggest open world in gaming history, but they did put a lot of cool things around. Obviously your towers that you climb, like you don't open the map up with towers, but they turn into fast travel points if they're like kind of home bases. Silos are also something you can teleport to, and those give you access to a sort of map about where a vault fragment piece is. You combine those, you make a vault, and you go fight a thing. So there's not just like one main vault you're going for. There's a bunch of vaults, which is fun. Those are good encounters, and there's lots of stuff. There's megaphone speaker encounters, which is like a wave based thing. All of this is also how you get SDUs, so how you increase your storage capacity. Pretty much all the stuff you uncover and unlock gives you SDUs, and that's how you increase your space. One of my favorite things that would happen is suddenly a just big white dome would appear if you're driving by, and you go in there and you fight sometimes a pretty decently hard boss and a bunch of enemies within that space. And in terms of like on map bosses, those are the most rewarding I've seen. Like they dump out loot, and that's where I've gotten easily the most loot on kills outside of like big story bosses. One problem with that is like if you even like put your ass outside the circle for a little bit, it erases the whole encounter. Like there's no turn back, like it's gone. And that happened multiple times to me because like you don't know where your back is all the time. So that was annoying, but those encounters themselves are really good. There are really unique biomes here, eventually, jungle, mountains, plains, that kind of stuff. So it's not crazy new or anything. I mean, the graphics, we're about as like max as we can get with this art style. Like if you start doing any more advanced graphics here, this is Unreal, so it's like a little different, but we're sort of maxed out here. So visually, there's not going to be like too many moments where you're like, oh my god, because we've sort of hit the upward limit here of where we're going. This results in like the NPC character models are just very goofy at this point. They just seem super dated. This is different in cutscenes. One aspect of the story here that I thought is really good is that your character is like an actual character in the story all the time, which is not how it's been in past games where you're sort of a passive observer to other characters just talking, and like sometimes like you won't even, it seems like you're not even there. Not the case this time. You are always involved in everything. You are the main character. You meet people, you are in the cutscenes with them, they're talking to you. Good change there. Other story stuff, the game is not overloaded with cameos, like past, game cameos, which I don't know, maybe some people will be bummed about that, but I think that was a purposeful decision where, I mean, A, they can leave some people for DLC, but B, because they don't do a trillion cameos, the ones they do have, I mean, these have been in the trailer, but I'm not going to spoil it if you avoid the trailers or whatever. The ones you do have are really good. And, obviously there's Claptrap and whatever, but there's other characters that come, and essentially the entire main quest line revolves around those characters in 2 regions, and they're 2 of my favorite characters, so that's pretty cool. In terms of the writing, they took almost all the memes out. I think I heard like 2 memes this entire game when previously, it was every 5 seconds. It's a mix of, they're still trying to be funny. I played Rafa, the TDR soldier guy. He's kind of like a Enrico Suave, I don't know, Antonio Banderas type. I like him. He was a little like, I wasn't sure about him at first, but I like him by the end. Kind of his little quips are like the funny thing. Whereas there are a lot of like pretty serious missions that play it really straight, like some pretty horrifying storylines. And the ones, especially with the big bosses, all of these bosses are like, they're straight up just kind of scary, or supposed to be kind of scary. There's no Handsome Jack and his butt ponies. There's no streamer. I don't even remember their names, but like everybody hated them. Tyrene and someone, I don't know. But there's the villains here are not like that. And I think that is a good change for the series, while also it retains at least some of its vibe, some of its humor. I've never been a big Borderlands humor person, like even, with the writing and no memes, like I didn't laugh. This just doesn't really land for me. But the dramatic stuff a lot of the times did land for me, especially later in the game, especially with, I would say, the later 2 main story paths with those bosses there. I think that landed a lot more. Hey, Yuvi. All right, that's probably enough story stuff. Gameplay. I think we got to be at like the best gameplay at this point. Borderlands has never had like the best gunplay in the genre, which is not great for like a gun-based game. They keep making improvements every game, and here they really focused on mobility. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. Map mobility is really good. This is sort of separate because you can summon your vehicle anywhere. And if you couldn't do that, if you were in a catch a ride stations all the time, this wouldn't work at all. There's a joke about someone about like, okay, I laughed at this one. Back in my day, like, you know, we had to like walk to vehicle stations and stuff. So this you just summon, makes map mobility a breeze. In terms of combat, some things they've added are really good. The having a double jump automatically on every character, godsend, God, it's like kind of a gimme. They have this warlock glide where after a jump, you just hold jump and you slide down, you know, and you can also slide sideways. It's a little bit like a jetpack. Sometimes this is for traversal. A lot of the times it's just really good in combat if someone's hiding behind cover and you can loop around them. So those are really good additions. I was disappointed with some of the other ones. There's like a little air dash that I don't get the point of it. It's so small. It's like going 2 feet in front of you, and it uses half of your jet fuel or whatever for gliding. I almost never use that. The only time I used it is like if you're in a vortex of like some sort of gravity well and enemies shooting at you, you can get out of that using that. But like, one of the biggest disappointments in the game is the grappling hook. Like, I love grappling hooks in like all games. You know, I wasn't like the biggest Halo Infinite fan, but the way they implemented the grappling hook there and how that changed combat, really cool, really good addition. Almost all games, you know, Destiny with the grapple on strands, amazing. Almost all games that do this, it's a good addition to the game. That is not true here. You can only grapple to fixed points. So when you're like going places, it could have been a ladder. Like, it's no functional difference almost all the time in terms of like, you could have just had a ladder or a ramp or something to go there instead of a grappling hook. In combat, there are sometimes grapple points, but like it whips you around so fast that you can't shoot anyone in the air really. And by the time you land, you like barely even know where you are, and you're probably going to get blown up by something. In the trailer, they showed off this cool ability where you can grapple a barrel and then throw it at an enemy and then blow it up and shooting it. That sucks ass. It sucks. First of all, you can't even grab the good barrels, like the really big elemental barrels. You still can't grab those. They have these little like fire extinguisher things that you can grab and throw at enemies, but like they suck, and you might as well just be shooting an enemy instead of wasting time doing that. They use the throw mechanic, like grab something and throw it for a couple missions. Like there's sort of a puzzle where you have to like keep throwing a battery up a tower and like put it at the top of the tower, stuff like that. But no, the grappling hook sucks. If you have a grappling hook, you can't just limit it to that degree, or else you might as well not even have it. All right, guns. Really good changes to guns here. When they were talking about making legendaries legendary, boy, they weren't kidding. I think I had like 5 by the end of the game. I spent almost the entire game using purples. Purples are way better than they used to be because purples have all of these different combinations of all of the company parts now. So, you know, they've explained this before, but like, oh, you get a Torg explosive gun that has the Hyperion shield and the Tediore throw explosion thing. And you can really sort of line those up in conjunction with, these class modifications. There's like a class modification, a gun modification. So your gun modification might be like, if you have a Maliwan part, it like increases your elemental chance. And then, but then also it's like splash damage increase. So if you get like a torque gun with elemental damage, it's like, well, or like in a Maliwan part, then it's, doubles up. So, and then that combines with things in your tree. So I, have a splash damage thing on Rafa, and now I have this pistol that is insane, and it's a purple. Some of the legendaries I got are really good. I had a sniper rifle that like explodes into 5 different rounds that killed every boss for like 25 levels. I'm going to give you this one. I got the Hellwalker, the famous shotgun with the double shot and the crazy reload. Still using that. That's still really fun. But yeah, purples are really kind of interesting now. The underbarrel stuff they've done here is just, I don't even know if I've seen all of them yet, but I think my favorite was shooting like a meat cleaver at someone with a torque gun, which can often be like a one-hit kill. You can, there's underbarrel shotguns, but there's like missile launchers, there's mine launchers. You can launch corrosive blobs. You can launch an energy ball that you shoot a second time and blow up. You can shoot an AoE explosion. So they've really just kind of gone above and beyond in terms of the things that your weapons can do. And skills, like I only had time to do Rafa here. And I had a little bit of trouble like getting a build going with him sometimes. Like I did his like electric arm cannon, which was like okay. I really tried to make a melee build work, but I just kept dying a lot. He has these auto turrets on his shoulders that are like one of his trees. Crazy build. I did a splash damage rocket launcher version of that, and it's nuts. And like when you go into last stand, your rockets stay on your shoulders, so boy, that helps. Two of the biggest annoyances I have about combat are still here, where like you will just randomly blow up on an explosive barrel that like instantly kills you frequently, which is very annoying. And then it still does the thing where if you're fighting one last enemy and they kill you and you kill them, you're screwed. Like you can't recover. Like these are series problems I think they should have figured out a solution for, which they haven't. Enemy types, I haven't seen anything like too crazy. That's another thing, like the grappling hook, you can't grapple enemies. I think there was like one enemy where you could like grapple something off their back, like a fire psycho or something, but like you can't grapple enemies. Like what's the point of a grappling hook if you can't grapple enemies sometimes? Some of the boss fights utilize the grappling hook where you gotta like pull a chunk off the boss or like get to a platform before something, blows up. But like it's really trying to force this in here when this either should have been way better or didn't need to exist at all. I think that covers most of it. Oh, wait, no, ordnance. The new system where they've made both grenades and heavy weapons and now throwing knives a rechargeable ordnance system is great, especially with grenades and throwing knives. I love throwing knives. The throwing knives are awesome because it's not just a throwing knife. It's like you get all the grenade mods on a throwing knife where it's like the knife splits into two things, and when it hits an enemy, it drops a bunch of grenades. And like, so the combinations you can do here are pretty excellent. And the grenades and throwing knives recharge very fast. Heavy weapons, I've only used a couple of those and I didn't like them because the cooldowns are really long and you don't get that many shots with them. And it seems like you'd be better off having a much more rechargeable grenade or throwing knife. Like, and then there's all these skill trees where if you throw ordnance or whatever, it gives you bonuses there. So I'm sure there's good heavy weapons. I just really haven't found them yet. So yeah, I haven't gotten into endgame. I can't comment on that. Go to YouTube for that. I'm going to go to all the YouTube guys for builds and stuff later. But it's going to take a little time. I took my time. I didn't just race through the story campaign. If you race to the story campaign, you're probably going to be underleveled for it. So it really encourages you to do side missions. Very cool side missions here. Some of these are really elaborate and some of them are like genuinely interesting. Some are, pretty goofy, and that's where the humor comes in sometimes. But yeah, really, really solid side missions. Nothing is just a pure fetch quest. Like usually there's some more significant dynamic to it. So using those to level up is solid. I don't know. There's going to be more to say. I know I'm forgetting things, but it's also, pre-launch, so I don't want to get too in the weeds here. I think people are going to like it. I don't know what the Metacritic score is. It's somewhere in the 80s. All the Borderlands games are in the 80s. If you're a Borderlands fan and you didn't like the direction 3 went in a bunch of different ways, I think you're going to like 4. Not going to say return to form, but, sort of. It is still a lot different than Borderlands 2. Like, Borderlands 2 is everyone's favorite Borderlands. Not everyone's, most people's. But again, the dynamic is different. Like, there's no very goofy, handsome Jack. I guess he's menacing sometimes, but Siren stuff is really interesting. There's a lot of like kind of neat Siren storyline things, good Ripper Psycho storyline things too. Some interesting stuff there. So yeah, there's a lot to discover here. I think if you're a fan of the series, you're going to like it. I think if you're looking for, say, a new loot-based game when your current loot-based game is not going so great, I think there might be a learning curve here, but I think you will probably like Borderlands, which is constantly giving you new gear and new skill points that make you feel powerful. Endgame, we'll see how that goes. We'll see if it's sticky for new players or whatever, but yeah, I'm going to recommend it for sure. Really, no matter if you like shooters, if you like loot shooters, if you're like Borderlands, I mean, go for it. It's been 6 years. Like, give them $70 or whatever it is, or $60. I don't even know what they decided on, but yeah. So that's my early review here, and I will have more to come as I continue to play. And I wish I did have more time, but factors happen where I couldn't, go crazy hard on it. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.